Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. There is a widespread impression among Nigerians that only two political parties, namely the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party, are always in contention to win every position, more or less, during elections, at least the majority of the positions available. However, as at the last count, there are close to 100 political parties in the country, 91 specifically, all of them taking part in the last general election, either as direct sponsors of candidates for political positions or as proxy sponsors. Are these fringe parties, therefore, acting true to time? When people say they only make themselves available after every 4 years to take part in the process and thereafter disappear for another 4 years. For the answers we seek, we now turn to Mark Adebayo, the acting national chairman of KOWA Party, as well as co-spokesman of the coalition of united political parties. He's here to talk about his party's plans for the upcoming elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states, as well as what the smaller political parties in Nigeria are doing to give the biggest parties a run for their money. Welcome to the program, Mark. Mark? Okay, maybe there is a problem of connection with the Abuja studio where you'll be joining us from. But you see, this is a major issue in Nigeria today. 91 political parties, 73 of them presented their presidential candidates. At the end of the day, the last general election, not even up to 15 of them who meet, the condition in section 225, of the 1999 Constitution as amended by the 4th Alteration number 7 of 2017, to which, a political party is required to win at least in the presidential election about 25% of the total votes, at least one chairmanship position, at least one local councillorship position, at least one ward in the local governments in a particular state. But many of these political parties, they just didn't achieve anything.
No. And then many joined the coalition, the CUPP, which I'm sure we'll find out more about with Mr. Adebayo.
But should they remain as political parties?
That is the question.
Anyway, let's check if Mark Adebayo is already in the studio. Mark Adebayo, are you with us? Welcome to the morning show.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. Good morning, Reuben.
Very good. Good to see you. Now, we've been talking about, the manner in which the APC and the PDP have dominated the political space after the elections, and how, well, even if in the National Assembly you have up to 9 political parties having representatives, but generally, we had 73 political parties presenting presidential candidates.
91.
No, the general number of political parties was 91, but 73 presented presidential candidates. And then before the election, 1 or 2 political parties adopted either this candidate or that candidate. These are the facts. But since the election, some people have said, this proliferation of political parties is nothing but prostitution, opportunism. In fact, Femi Falana came forward and then said, look, INEC should move very quickly and deregister those political parties that did not win any seat or that did not fulfill, the provisions of Section 225 of the Constitution. Your party, KOWA Party, will probably fall under this category of political parties that should be promptly deregistered. What's your take?
Thank you so much. But, that's wrong. KOWA Party cannot be registered on the basis of the Electoral Act that was passed last year by the president, was signed into law by the president last year, because KOWA Party was registered in 2009. KOWA Party will be 10 years next week Tuesday, July 16. We were registered in 2009. By 2011, we had won an election in the Bayelsa State, into the Bayelsa State House of Assembly, where we produced the minority leader of the house. So a party needs time, to develop, to be able to mature. That, you cannot register political parties on the eve of the election and begin to say you want to register them for not winning anything. Now, that provision of the Constitution, now, KOWA Party has a councillor, one councillorship election last year, August, in Imo State, Kilgwe, local government of Imo State, Amosu Ward. By that, we have qualified. We have met with we have met the conditions of one of the conditions of parties to survive in the country. So, once you have said that the KOWA Party will fall under we cannot fall under the acts of INEC. Besides that, we have met with other conditions provided by the law. So we are not. So KOWA Party has been winning. We have won in Bayelsa. We have won in Imo. We continue winning. So that is it. In terms of proliferation of political parties, I think we are exaggerating the issue. We are over-exaggerating it in Nigeria. Anybody that has current political knowledge of political history all over the country, all over the world, we know that the America that we are following has the Republican and Democratic Party, but we do know that they have over 500 political parties that are unknown to anybody. So, but the two, in terms of PDP and APC dominating the political space, it is not limited to Nigeria. In the UK, where you have the Conservative and Labour Party, we have almost other 300 political parties. So that is it. It is not every political party that can be an actor on a national scale. It is not every political party that can produce a presidential candidate. It is not every political party that can produce a governor. There are political parties that are interested in the community politics of their area. In terms of, look at the end of the day, that we are de-emphasizing government at the center. It will be to the people. Government, the closest government to the people is the local government. And that is where the emphasis should be. That is how development can come in a society. Without that, we cannot say, it's not an excuse that political parties proliferation. No, that is wrong. This is a multi-party democracy. This is a multi-party democracy. You allow political parties to mature over time. I think that law should be reviewed in a way that, okay, you cannot say because you register a party in January, you are contesting election in March, and it should win. It should win what? What is it going to win? Where they don't have money back? Like KOWA Party without money back, without godfathers. Where do you want to, in a heavily monetized, prependalized political environment like Nigeria's? You must know that you must allow political parties space to mature and go forward. So, we are not barren in terms of a winning political position. We have produced an honorable in Imo State election that was held in August last year. So we are home and dry. We are safe.
So,
no problem about that.
Even though KOWA, as you've said, is home and dry, to use your phrase, Mr. Adebayo, are you suggesting that there should be a constitutional amendment in that regard and also an amendment of the Electoral Act? Because Section 78, subsection 7, says the same thing, that a political party should be deregistered if it fails to produce a candidate at the national or state assemblies. So are you saying that those laws should be amended? And what other amendments, legislative amendments, would you prescribe for our current electoral climate?
One of the things I would like to prescribe is the fact that rather than say you register political parties, you register them today, they go and gather or come under another name and get registered the following month. It doesn't make sense. Now, what we should do is to amend it and say, okay, for a period of so years, maybe 4 years, there are certain templates, there are things you should have achieved. So to be able for you to maintain your certificate that you are still a registered political party in Nigeria. If you give those templates. Another thing is that you cannot, not all political parties, presidential race should not be an all-commerce affair. That you are registered as a political party does not mean that it's by fire, by force that you must contest election at the presidential level. There are political parties that just want to limit themselves to local government elections and the rest of that. The INEC should be able to prescribe conditions under which you can provide a president that can sponsor a presidential candidate. So if you don't meet, you cannot gather 5 people in one room and say, this is a presidential candidate. And then you now cause INEC to go and begin to print a ballot paper that will be like a carpet. No, we are saying that rather than register the political parties, give conditions for parties to meet, to participate in presidential election, to participate in governorship election, to participate in local government elections. So if they meet those conditions, then you allow them to contest for those elections. So I am not, and definitely KOWA Party is not in support of a portfolio, what they call portfolio political parties. So we are not in support of that. We want parties to be active. We want parties to be efficient. Nigeria, in a multi-party democracy, Nigeria needs as many pro-masses parties, political parties that are required. Many of these so-called big political parties, what is the status of the entire democracies? I can tell you, I am proud to say that KOWA Party conducted one of the best, one of the most credible presidential primary in this country in 2019 election. KOWA Party is on record to be the first political party in Africa to sit its presidential aspirants in a classroom and give them paper to write examination, including Professor Laila, Dr. Fagbero, and Ayo Lijadu. These are veterans in their own fields. You know, academics, actors, economists, development experts. They sat down, they wrote exam, and we marked the papers for them. You know, so that is it. And before they now went and faced a direct primary, where eventually Dr. Fagbero emerged as presidential candidate of the party. How many? That's why we are not in court. That's why there's no crisis in the party. We have in KOWA Party, we place a high premium on internal party democracy and organizational discipline.
Thank you, Mr. Adebayo, and of course that is very important. But I think the main issue here is also the influence and the weight that a small political party can carry when, after the elections, you do have your leading opposition dominating the opposition side of things. Now, take a party like KOWA, of course, for example. You said Dr. Fagbero emerged as your presidential candidate. I recall interviewing him, and he spoke about criminalizing illiteracy as one of the main things that he wanted to push forward. Let's take this policy, right? How does a party like KOWA then actively ensure that they have some level of influence to continue and push forward their policies that they wanted to see going forward for Nigeria if they had won the office of the president, given KOWA does not even have any representatives in the National Assembly? Isn't it therefore difficult for a party like KOWA to then push these policies forward and have some level of influence? Or is this why KOWA, for example, then looks to things like the CUPP, which you're the spokesperson for, as a solution in terms of getting your policies to the forefront?
Well, first, let me quickly address the issue of small and big parties. I prefer to call us new generation political parties. It's not necessarily small. The crowd does not make quality. So if it is about the number of the people that they have. And, you know, the thing is that new generation political parties are put at a great disadvantage, especially in a heavily monetized political environment like ours in Nigeria. So because, unfortunately, I mean, that is our reality. Vote buying and vote selling has become part of the unfortunate process of our democracy. Very, very unfortunate. So, which puts the political party, the new generation political parties at a disadvantage. And you know, this issue of insisting that you have to win this, you have to win that.
We have to take a short break, and then we come back to you, and you continue with this line of thought. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Still with us in our Abuja studio is Mark Adebayo, former National Secretary of KOWA Party, now the acting National Chairman of KOWA Party, as well as co-spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties in Nigeria. Mark Adebayo, welcome back to the morning show.
Thank you.
Yes, before we took a break, you were responding to the question that had been asked by my colleague Laila Johnson-Salami. If you may just continue from that point.
Yeah. So, you know, this insistence that political parties must win this, must win that, and this of that, you know, is in the prebendalist and over-monetized political environment like ours, is what has been leading to the desperation to win power at all costs by whatever means. So, I think I know of political parties, KOWA, for instance, and a few other political parties that are very, very functional, very functional, are touching base with the people that are working, have offices in 24 states of the federation, are doing everything that they are supposed to be doing, but they have not won election. Fortunately, we have won. We won in 2011, we won last year. So some political parties need time to develop, you know, so that they be able to mature, to be able to get to that level. On the issue of criminalizing the political offenses, we are 110%, you know, in support of that. Otherwise, especially the issue of the winner, this money back takes all, or the illegitimate use of the powers of incumbency. There has to be an election offenses commission, and there has to be an election offenses tribunal, so that people will know that if they commit any offense, after the election, they are going to answer for it. It's very, 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 very important. I believe very strongly that INEC should be looking, I keep saying that, into the internal dynamics of politics of all the political parties, where you don't have, internal democracies. And meanwhile, on the issue of over-monetization of Nigeria's political environment, which is one of the things that Professor Shonaya will be speaking to on Tuesday here in Abuja, it is what has led to a faulty recruitment process for our leadership. That is why we get all manner of looters, all manner of irresponsible characters into the political space, because of over-monetized political environment. And I think we have to de-emphasize that. Until that is criminalized, both the buyers of vote and the sellers of vote will not stop. Once you stop that, if you don't stop it, you are not going to get credible leaders, you are not going to get competent leaders, you are not going to get leaders with integrity, you are not going to get leaders with pedigree. There are incredible number of politicians in this new generation political parties. Wonderful people, good people, professionals who have made it in their fields, but are failing to win elected positions because of money bags who have looted our resources and now using that to buy the consciences of our people. Our leadership recruitment processes has been heavily compromised. We have to change our orientation in Nigeria.
Adebayo, if I may just come in at this point. You've said a lot of great things about KOWA Party, and I agree with you, yes, that in a multi-party democracy, we must have diversity, we must have multiplicity of ideas. But at the same time, your party has been strongly criticized. Before the 2019 elections, I read pieces, somebody saying your party didn't show enough seriousness in the Osun election that was conducted in September 2018. And when the State Congress, ahead of the 2019 election, was conducted in Lagos, although you had the female presidential candidate in 2018, that in 2019 at your state congresses, the party did not encourage women participation. This particular criticism also went on to say that KOWA is at best a social media political party. You seem to be more active on the social media. Now, these are criticisms, whether they are true or not. What are you doing to rebuild the party, to strengthen it, to move it away from being described as a small political party to a mainstream party? And I ask this question in the light of what your party may be doing while preparing for the November 2019 elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states.
Thank you so much. Let me start from where you ended. The issue of Bayelsa and Kogi, our primaries will be coming up next month. We'll be doing our primaries in both Kogi and Bayelsa next month. We are contesting that election, we are participating. Now, on the issue of Osun State, I am surprised that anybody will say that we not show any seriousness, that enough seriousness in Osun State. In Osun State, Professor Fabiyi gave the APC and PDP a run for their monies. In the debate, in the live debate that was conducted in that state, Professor Fabiyi beat all of them hands down, gave incredible performance on the stage of debate. Nobody had answer to the statistics that he provided. Professor Fabiyi is agri-economics, is an international agri-economist, is an expert, is a professional, and he did justice to that. If competency and integrity and capacity and pedigree were to be the mainstream political considerations for electing people, Professor Fabiyi would be the governor of Osun State as I'm talking today. Now, on the area of females, in the 2019 general elections, minimum of 47% of all our candidates, KOWA Party sponsored 284 candidates for the 2019 general elections. Out of them, 47% are women. About 62% of them are youth. So, a party that is able to do that can no longer be described as a social media political party. Can no longer be, in all fairness, be described as a mere social media political party. On the issue of Lagos that did not produce a governorship candidate, well...
Sorry, I'll let you finish that question.
Well, you see, look, you wanted to ask a question?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so on the issue of maybe Lagos State did not produce a governorship candidate, well, it is... If it is in the wisdom, because in KOWA Party, the thing is that we do not impose candidates and we do not, impose our will on different states of the federation. If out of we have structures in 34 states of the federation, and out of the 34 states of the federation, about 27 produced governorship candidates. Lagos State, I think what happened was that they decided there was somebody who was supposed to have run for governorship in Lagos State, and a female, but who later thought that, look, they should, maybe that the environment was not conducive enough for her to run at that time. And of course, we have to face reality. And then, of course, it's not compulsory. We in Lagos State, people contested for House of Reps, House of Assembly, and local government. Incredible, and they went out all out to do their best. You know, there was presence of that. So we cannot say because Lagos State alone, because Lagos State did not produce a local government ownership election, that does not define KOWA Party. You know, what of 284 other candidates that we produced, including 27 governorship candidates? So that is that. We are a very active political party, extremely active political party.
So
we give
wanted
premium
to
of
ask you
place
about
to
your
women
primaries.
in our neck. In our neck, in a 16-member National Executive Committee of KOWA Party, 16-member, we have nine females. So what are we talking about?
Mr. Adebayo, still on your primaries, your party's policy is that aspirants should run according to state of residence and not state of origin. Can you take us through the rationale for this?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because you cannot discriminate against any Nigerian on the basis of where he was born or where he originates from. So wherever you live, wherever you are based, wherever you are working, your family is, that is your home in Nigeria. That should be your home. So you cannot be discriminated against on the basis of your state of origin or whatever that is causing problem for us in this. That is our own principle. If you understand, I mean, that's our own principle. That is why the people who ran on our party platform in many of the states were not necessarily maybe who you can call indigenes of that state. That is not part of our preconditions for people to contest. The Constitution of Nigeria does not say until you are from Plateau State. If you are from Lagos, you cannot contest election in Plateau State, and vice versa. So that is it. We believe that every Nigerian must be given the opportunity to prove themselves everywhere they find themselves to live, where they are living peacefully and they are not causing problem for anybody. So that is the kind of thing that we are advocating. We are not saying that people should you cannot get to a place in 1 month and say you want to contest election. Okay. But where you are born, you cannot say because your dad or your parents are from Akwa Ibom and you are based in Oyo State, and you are born in Oyo State, and they say because your parents are from Akwa Ibom, you cannot contest election in Oyo State. KOWA Party is advocating against that. Every Nigerian must be given an opportunity to express their political will.
Okay, before we wrap up the conversation, I'd like to take us back quickly to the start of this conversation about being a smaller party that you prefer to call a new generation political party. Now, you're the co-spokesperson for the CUPP. Sure. If we do need 91 political parties, as you stated, then why does a coalition of united political parties exist, whereby tens and tens and tens of these 91 political parties are falling under one? Unfortunately, sir, we have run out of time. I don't think there's going to be much time for a response on this.
Okay, thank you so much.
You can go briefly,
sir. Was a necessary child of circumstance.
Anyway.
So the CUPP was a necessary child of the circumstance that we found ourselves.
Well,
okay.
Thank you very much, Mark Adebayo. Thank you. Thank you. Child of circumstance. Well, some people will say child of necessity. The CUPP is a major pressure group representing the interests of the minority political parties in Nigeria.